get me out on a Saturday night, man. Saturday nights are good. Saturday night, keeping it sober group, awful special, man. I love this home group, and I love Alcoholics Anonymous to my innermost being. You know, thank you for your kind words. Yeah, I'm pretty much happily and usefully whole and joyous most of the time. And I let you guys get to know me, and then when I ain't feeling that free, y'all call me out on it. Say, hey man, what's going on, brother? Usually I'm more honest with a newcomer sometimes than my own sponsor. That's all right. I went to bed resentful last night, y'all. I don't want to look at that stuff. Guess what I woke up with? I woke up with resentment, man. It was a rough morning. That's at self-imposed prison without a drink of alcohol. You know, welcome to you newcomers. Welcome to the old timers. I'm glad men just keep coming back. You know, my friend John here let me know that leave my guitar in the kitchen. It's interesting that we remember that stuff, though. You know, I sometimes have it's not a unique way, but, you know, I have a interesting perspective. I look at things, and I've observed behaviors in Alcoholics Anonymous, and tell you I'm the last one to tell who's going to stay sober and who's not. And then there's those guys that are roughneck guys like, man, I sure hope that guy don't come up and ask me to be his sponsor. Have y'all had that experience? It's like, man, how can I benefit this guy? And sure enough, he's, man, will be my sponsor. It's amazing things have happened in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's, I guess, my, to tell you in a general way, and I think they say in a general way, what it used to be like, because there's sections of my life that I just can't remember. I don't remember blacking out and not remembering, but I think that's what a blackout is. There's sections of my life, man. It's like I've been married twice, and I can't tell you a whole lot about being married, except that I got child support. In a general way, what it used to be like. And I'm sure them wives can tell you a different story than I can remember. I'll do the best I can. What it used to be like, and what happened, and what it's like now. And my sobriety date is September 20th, 2008. I had another sobriety date before then, and I picked up my 10-year chip, and Chuck came up to me and said, hey, it could have been 11. I love you guys, I truly do. Try not to take myself so damn serious. Yeah, I can get up here and like I trip. I respect trip. You know that, what is it, intercession? That's when you have a thought of somebody you ain't thought about and you call them. You know, trip calls me just out of the blue sometimes, just takes me out of myself. Encourage you to call guys when the name pops in your head, just go ahead and take the time to call that individual and tell them what they're going through. But Tripp said, you know, Ryan, I hope you knock them dead or get them sober tonight. And I said, man, I ain't got that kind of power. I ain't got that kind of power. And I said, I just pray that Ryan, Scott, and Mabry will take a rear seat and allow God to speak. And if I can not take myself so seriously and try to stay close to that higher power deal, works out. So, y'all ready to get naked? Because telling your story is like exposing yourself, man. You know, sharing your story, it's like, you know, I'm going to let you guys get to know a different part of me. Sometimes I do that through my song, playing my music, but I won't do that for you now. First time I got up here and spoke, I laid my guitar back here, and I don't know if I would freeze. You know, I don't really know what kind of fear it was. So I said, you know, if I freeze up, I'm just going to grab my guitar and we're going to start playing. Have us a shindig in here, all right? But in a general way, what it used to be like, what happened, and what it's like today. So I was born right down the road, Pine Bluff, North Carolina. I sometimes share, I swear there's something in the water. And a whole bunch of alcoholics came out of Pine Bluff, North Carolina. But I can't blame it on the water, right? That'd be passing the buck, not taking responsibility, and I don't think I can stay sober and stay in my own skin doing that on a consistent basis. Pine Bluff was a great town to grow up in, had a corner lot, had a bunch of neighborhood friends, and my father was a good man. My mother was a good woman. And they welcomed all the neighborhood kids, and they come over, and we had a whole crowd of kids over about all the time. And I say a pretty common childhood. Yeah, my father was an alcoholic. He sobered up for a few years. I don't remember the years that he was sober. But he was a loving man, and my mom was a loving woman. Like I said, we had a bunch of kids. So had some older influences. You know, like I say, we grew up swimming in the lake, and I guess I took my first drink of alcohol at a pig picking, and y'all go to pig pickings as kids, and parents seem to be having a pretty damn good time. Mm-hmm. And they kind of off doing their thing, and they leave the kids off to themselves. And I'll call a whole lot of shit can go down when you leave the kids all by yourself. I don't know, I guess I was probably 10. I don't really remember. I think I got into some wine that evening. I just remember jumping off in dirt hills and having a good time. I love the effect produced by alcohol. Anybody here relate? I don't know that if I was born with a genetic makeup to be an alcoholic, or if it's something I accumulated along the way. It doesn't really matter. I know I'm a pickle. I can no longer be a cucumber. But, so anyways, that was my first drink. Yeah. I could be an eggplant or something. I don't know what the hell that even means. Oh. So we had a lot of older kids to hang out with, and anybody here drink some of that Milwaukee's Best? I think that was some of my good early drinking. My daddy bought me a 12-string. He was manic depressant. That's what they called it at the time. He bought me a 12-string. And he said, "Son, you learn to play guitar on the 12-string, you're going to be real good when you get to 6. Not a whole lot of real rationality on that, but so we had this trailer out back in the Pine Bluff house, and a whole lot of stuff went down that trailer. Lost my virginity out there. Took my first wife's virginity out there. I told you we're going to get naked, y'all. And I ain't up here to be funny. I'm just telling you one man's story. You know, how I see it, and, you know, I'm still a people pleaser, though. I like for y'all to like me. That's all right. But, yeah, that Milwaukee's Best, playing that old guitar, singing some good old Bob Dylan, just having a good time. I had a lot of good times drinking, growing up and hanging around with them boys. I think the first time I really, really ever got sick was off of mixing Milwaukee's Beast and some of that brown liquor. And the thing that messed it up was that Barlow and James. You throw all those three things together, you're just trying to just have a good time, but you're going to consume whatever's there and, you know, get as much in you so you can just, I guess, feel a part of it. Just, you know, I just want to catch a buzz and be part of it. We're going to have a good time. And that don't work too well on an empty stomach, does it, y'all? Y'all remember the yellow bile and the dry heaves? Makes my stomach muscles tight just thinking about it. You know, I got a little bit smarter and started putting a little something on my stomach, but yeah, I guess if I had it. Anyways, I could go through countless stories, camping with the guys up in UR and just making sure I had enough alcohol, and you know, countless stories just growing up. But what I want to do is, talk about, I guess, how I felt, and, what I was thinking, best I can. Because as I continue to stay sober, looking back, it's like, man, just unconstitutionally incapable of being honest with myself. So been married a couple times. I guess I'm pretty good through high school. I skipped school, not as much as everybody else. I tripped acid, not as much as everybody else. When they were taking 3 hits, I was only taking 1. That makes me a better man. Right? No. I stole from the convenience store down there. And even broke into that sucker one time. I love going down on Wednesday nights, sharing my story and fellowshipping with the guys down at the prison. And just because I've never been incarcerated or arrested doesn't mean that it ain't in my story if I choose to rewrite it. And it's not because I was any smarter. I just didn't get caught. So it's not part of my story. So anyways, yes, I'm a thief and I'm a liar, all that good stuff. I ain't hurting nobody. I remember walking out of that store, I used to wear this big old navy pea coat. I think my brother Richard taught me how to do that too. Off that navy pea coat, because he started wearing it first. And you could really put some Mad Dog and some stuff in there. I remember walking out of that store, and I knew the clients, the people who were in that store really well. And I remember walking out of there, and one bottle slipped out, went, and I just kept walking. I came back that night, and they didn't say anything, but it's like, I don't know why, I don't know if I tried to get more alcohol or what. That's crazy, man. I worked for these little old widow ladies about 2 blocks from that store, and man, these little widow ladies thought the world of me. And I'm a respectable young man who, take care of them little old ladies. It wasn't that I was a bad person, but it's like, nobody forced me to do anything. I did it all to myself. So anyways, I feel like I got cotton mouth, y'all. I didn't drink enough water this morning. So I accumulated a little bit of money by saving $10, $12, $15 at a time, and worked for a guy, Joe Reese Sykes, out of Pine Bluff, and he was going to Alaska after I got out of high school. Graduated and worked a little while, and so I don't know, I went to Alaska with him when I was about 17. And if you're young and sober, I encourage you to go out and experience the world before you have babies. Babies are game changers. But I went to Alaska, about 5,500 miles away from home. Beautiful place. Traveled up through Canada. Took me a little bit of grass and ate the rest of my grass before I crossed the border. Can't waste that stuff, man. Chunked my bowl, and we went on across and smoked some hash with the tree planters out there in Canada. Everybody's on holiday. Good people, good people. And traveling up to Alaska and fit right in. I remember doing some heavy drinking there at this place in Anchorage, Spenard, and didn't really, like I say, I don't remember a whole lot about that whole experience. I just remember Rainier beer. There's a Mount Rainier out in Oregon or Washington or something like that. I drank a whole lot of Rainier beer. And worked on the fishing boat out there. I even traded for this Eskimo dog. This Eskimo was walking around with this little husky, and I said, "Is the dog for sale?" He said, "No, the dog's not for sale." I said, Okay, I'm thinking a perfect Alaskan souvenir. And he came around later and says, you still want to buy the dog? I said, sure. He said, well, what you want for it? And he said, will you trade a bottle of whiskey? All right, cool. So I guess like any good alcoholic, if I'm going to make an investment in this bottle, I'm going to sit around and drink with you. We got any of those out there? Made an investment, I'm committed. So he got to be a real good friend later. He actually stole that dog from me and went and sold it. But I found him in this place called Hope, Alaska, and hooked up with him and sent this other kid back with the guy's truck. And I thought I was taking him home in Anchorage, Alaska, and we pulled up, and it was a concrete walkway in front of the homeless shelter. And it just blew my mind. Good man, though. Good man. I'm sure he's dead today. He was coughing up blood. He's a bad alcoholic. I say alcoholic, he had a bad disease. Stuff's hard on the body. I ended up wandering around the streets after a church service on a Saturday up in Alaska and Anchorage, and it's like we can gravitate and find our kind. We are good at that. I end up, like I said, I went to church, churchly, godly people, and I roam the streets of Anchorage, and I end up behind a Fred Meyer's drinking around a fire barrel, and I'm at home. Y'all get that? I feel more at ease in that place, and I bought the bottle, so here I am committed again. And one of those guys were kind enough to walk me home that night. And I only remember this because I wrote it in one of these journals that I kept while I was up there. There's a strong brotherhood. And let me see where I'm at. My mother and my grandparents and everybody came up. Even old Charles Starch came up to Alaska, and awesome trip. And came back to North Carolina, and ended up marrying one of my childhood sweethearts. I went to Kansas to try to save her from some bad relationship. We got anybody here that tries to be a hero? And it don't quite work out with best intentions. I'm going to try to, do my best to, I guess be the person that God wanted me to be. So anyways, I brought this young lady back and kept her hostage for a while. My drinking's, there was a time where 3 beers would catch me a buzz. Maybe I'd drink 4 and I'd leave 12 back in the fridge. It's not everybody's experience. That's the way I remember it anyways. And I'm sure I'd get looted every chance I got, but there was a time where I could drink 3 or 4 beers. Maybe I was a cucumber. Maybe I could have stopped in time. Nope. So anyways, we had a beautiful daughter, Macy Ryan Mabry. She's 20 years old now. I've been having kids a long time. I got a 4-month-old little kid at the house. Been having kids 20 years. Macy and I just jumped out of an airplane about 3 weeks ago. Wonderful experience. We actually did it. I got pretty high. Oh, shit. Before I picked up that chip, I told Frank I was going to get the highest I ever gotten. Awesome experience. But had that daughter and sneaking them Bush beers in that night in the hospital. And every time I had a child thereafter, alcohol was always involved. Couldn't leave it alone for a day. It becomes such part of the way of life that I'm the last to really know it. It's just I'm trying to survive and do the best that I damn can. And I love that girl. My life was changed in an instant. The day that my daughter was brought into this world, instantly to know a love that I know that we couldn't have otherwise. And like I say, it don't slow me down none. I've always been a hard worker. Man, if you work hard, you feel justified and entitled. We got anybody out here feeling that entitlement? If I work hard and I try to be the best Ryan at the job and at home, I'm entitled to a little bit of, but this entitlement turns into a everyday habit, and then it just consumes so much. So yeah, my father was still alive at that time. Right before my daughter was born, did a lot of partying with my dad. Sold a lot of grass for my dad. It was a family business. To all them neighborhood kids that used to be around that block. But yeah, my dad passed away. I don't really know how to mourn properly, so we just throw a big party and shoot some shotguns and drink some beer, campfire, and all that good stuff. My daughter's about 2 months old. My dad passed away. I remember holding her close to me. And fast forward another 2 years, got another son, and about another 2 years after that, and I try not to share it as much, but she went outside of the marriage, and was not able to allow myself to believe that someone that I cared so much for was capable of doing such an act to me. Right? Couldn't allow myself to believe it, and so that marriage ended terribly, and she took the kids and claimed that I was going to kidnap my own kids and take them to Alaska, and kept them from me for 2 months. Man, it broke my heart. I remember when they returned, it broke down. So love has always been there, man. I love those children. Tried to be the best father I could, but when their mom would drop them off, they ate a whole lot of cereal. Me being pretty darn hungover in the morning, it's like, man, I can't get up and function, but they learned how to fix their own cereal right. Smart kids. But so I stayed single, did the bar scene, Thirsty Thursday, quarter drafts and all that stuff, and I don't remember drinking and driving much, but I'm sure I got home somehow. I just don't remember a whole lot about that time in my life. I know I got married a second time. Love to share this in my story. Unprotected, premarital, how do I say it? UPS, unprotected premarital sex. Woo! Conceive a child out of wedlock, decide to make it legal and get married. It's not that it won't work out in everybody's situation, but it hadn't worked out in mine. Just tried it twice. So I took me another hostage, and I drank the way I wanted to, or as long as I wanted to. And I'd wake up in the morning, I'd go to work, and I'd get me some beers on the way home. And this marriage was probably a year or so into it, and I'm drinking. I'd like to say I was a heavy drinker. I drank about 10 Budweisers. But I got to where I would stash a fifth of hot fifth of hot whiskey. But the truth is, I just didn't want to run out, so I'd keep the vodka stashed in this old beat-down truck out back. And I'd throw my empties in it, and the truck would almost level out with beer cans. And I'd go in and I'd check on in with the missus, and everything would be good. And there's always something I got to do back outside. Always something. And what I know it is today is it's like it's that 12-pack of beer in that cooler that I can't participate as a family because it's talking to me. Hey Ryan, come on back outside. And so I'm keeping my beer in the back of the truck by this time, I guess so she won't find out how much I'm drinking. And I go out and I get that Budweiser, and I'd get that hot rescue vodka. Anybody out here drink hot vodka? You ain't drinking for taste. Any of y'all ever do any of this kind of drinking? Just long enough, and that stuff will go down, and you feel it rumble, and it's like, I need the effect that alcohol produces. This is when alcohol is working for me. If it's still working for you, hey man, my sponsor didn't say this, but our big book doesn't say don't drink and go to meetings. It says drink until you've had enough or you're convinced. You got to be convinced yourself. Alcohol was still working at this time. And towards the end, that first wife had put that child custody agreement where the kids weren't supposed to be exposed to drugs or alcohol. And she didn't start enforcing it till wife number 1 and wife number 2 started befriending each other on how to fix Ryan. And Ryan don't even know that he's broke. It's like, what in the world? And I'm trying to make sense of this, and I remember thinking to myself, man, is everybody that stupid? Oh, goodness. How far from the reality our minds can get. And so she was enforcing that drugs and alcohol disclaimer, and I share this because I do believe this is a mental illness. Because the kids were over, I couldn't drink. I got food and a wife and the kids, and I'm restless, irritable, and discontented. Maybe I'm clenching my fists. Maybe I'm not happy. I'm not telling you that I'm not happy, but it's coming through my attitude and my behavior. And the mental obsession is so powerful. It overrides all. I love you. I got to go. I love you, but I got to go. I love you, but I got to go. So how I describe the mental is, all right, well, honey, I'm going to go to the post office and go check the mail. And truthfully, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go check the mail. Rationalize. And I'm going to go check the mail, and then I'm going to go get me a 12-pack of beer. When I go out to the truck and put my key in the ignition, I'm already getting a sense of ease and comfort because I'm on my way. That's mental. That's 100% mental. I know I suffer from this. So I'm going to go get me that 12-pack and you know, on the way back, dirt roads, like, man, why was I making such a hard time out of such a small deal? Everything's good. That's when alcohol continued to work. So then my last drinking, because we went to that marriage counselor after she felt like a prisoner in her own home. Went gold prospecting up in the Uari Mountains with a couple friends, and as much alcohol as I could put in me. I knew this marriage was at its end and that she was going to be gone. It's like, and I guess I felt powerless to stop it, and I felt every bit of it, and the alcohol quit working. It had to quit working for me, and I want to stay convinced that it will never work for me again the same that it did. That's a strong first step. Stay grounded and stay on the front lines of alcoholism, doing stuff like prison and the detox, and just greeting out here out front, shaking you, putting out your hand to welcome. So I felt every bit of it, and I knew it was going on. So I came back in, and she didn't want me to pick up the kids. I went back to the house, and she called and said, Ryan says you need to quit drinking and go through a program of recovery, or I'm not coming home. And I said, well, okay. And I continued to drink that night. And it's not everybody's experience, but I was at peace. There was something something different. I knew something was going to be different. Didn't know what, but I knew something was going to change. And maybe you call it I've had moments of clarity, and didn't take the opportunity to bank on them and do something different. But I drank myself to sleep, and I woke up that night I got up and went out to the back of the truck about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and went to go grab another Budweiser out of the back and popped the top on it. And it's that moment of clarity. It's like, Ryan, what are you doing to yourself? And I poured the rest of that Budweiser out. I poured it out. That's alcohol abuse, so I poured it out, and that was my last drink. And I went to that Sand Hills Mental Health over here. Used to be in Pinehurst, and because I was broken, and I was out of answers. I was hurt, and I was feeling every bit of it. And kind lady there, Gwen, some of you might know Gwen, said, well, she dropped a piece of paper on the ground, and she asked me to pick it up. And so I just, okay, well, picked that piece of paper up, and she suggested I go to Alcoholics Anonymous and gave me a meeting schedule. And I said, well, okay. And before I left that office, I said, why did you have me pick up that piece of paper? And she said, just to see if you're willing to take suggestions. I said, all right. Makes sense. So I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, and not the first night. First night I came through, and I think I was going to go right over here and hit some golf balls at the driving range. Bam! You know, boys like to smash stuff, right? Get some aggression out. It feels good to smash something. I went to this driving range over here, and it must have been abandoned for 2 years. And it's like a William Shakespeare foreshadowing of, you know, the destruction and the abandonment, you know, my life was going to, you know, be looking like after doing some of this inventory work. So I came on to Alcoholics Anonymous on a Monday night. I'd come one time prior, years before, out of curiosity, and there was this lady, Rochelle, here. She ended up having twins. She remembered me when I came in, because I came up here and picked up a white chip, and I apologized for smelling like beer. And she, anyways, came here on a Monday night, and got a sponsor about 3 days into this thing. And he asked me then 2 questions. Are you willing to go through anything for victory over alcohol? Guess what that comes out of? It comes out of the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. And are you really licked this time? And the guys I work with, I asked them the same 2 questions. I don't want you to answer now. I want you to go home, think about it, give me a call tomorrow, and talk about it, move forward. So I went home that night and talked about that, and I remember fasting for a day, saying, God, Alcoholics Anonymous, really? I fasted from sundown to sundown. It was a practice this church that I grew up in used to do, and I wanted a clear-cut answer. I expected God to come down and say, you know, something. I didn't hear nothing. Silence. And, well, I'm out of answers, so let's go back to Alcoholics Anonymous and see what happens. And came back and you know, got busy right away. Got me, it's hard for old habits to break. I want y'all to call me out. If I'm up here in the front smoking a cigarette, say, hey, Ryan, please be kind and gentle on me. Because I'm a creature of habit. I walk up, I've been smoking up. I remember when we smoked cigarettes in here. Wednesday night, newcomer meeting, man, the smoke level would come down to here. Somebody go to the bathroom and the smoke would go. Walking out here with red eyes. Boy, it was sick in here. It was so sick. I'd sit at this middle table right here and my hand rolling cigarettes like I'm some joint manufacturer. Crazy, boy. Smoke 4, 5, 6 cigarettes. Drink 3 or 4 cups of coffee, and early sobriety is something, ain't it? If you've been sober any amount of time, or if you're going through it now, you're having an experience. There's really no magic key of shutting it down, because the mind is now without a substance in my body, so my mind's working overtime, and sure, I got a pile of problems I got to try and solve. And figure out how to get that second wife back in the house before anybody knows she's gone, because what is that going to say about me going through another wife? Got this pride deal working against me, and the sponsor asked me to clean ashtrays, make sure they got cups, toilet paper, paper towels, showed me how to make coffee, and got me busy, and gave me like 5 things to do, wrote it on a little piece of paper, do service work. First one was pray daily, 2, read the big book, 3, call or see sponsor, 4, do service work. I think that was the 5th one, I ain't coming to mind. Gratitude list. Show me those 5 things to do. And I'm willing and I'm teachable. And I try to remain that way today. So I start doing those things, and we get in the book, and reading every Wednesday, I believe it was, and just be occasionally he'd forget about me. Or something would come up, but that didn't happen often. But what he was doing was what his sponsor had done with him. Something that he can't get back because over time. So we made it through the steps in a relatively short time. 'Cause it's amazing the transformation that'll take place. Those were some tough months. Here I'm trying to be a father and put myself in some situations where I was not welcome. My father-in-law had to tell me. I went up to see the kids, and we must have made my separated wife and her mom uncomfortable, and he said, "Ryan, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave." And I have the blessing and fortune today to go to that lady's memorial like 2 days ago. The kids were down, and a whole lot's been happening. But came back to this meeting and sat about 2 rows about where Wes is, and that emotional heartburn. Y'all experience some of that where it's like, man, I'm feeling every bit of this, and this does not feel good. Well, when the newcomer shares when he's feeling like that, I get pissed off because I didn't have the balls to share it. And here I say I'm pissed off. I'm encouraged by that act because they'll share exactly where they was at. I didn't drink or anything. It's just new experiences in Alcoholics Anonymous, birthdays and holidays and divorces and all that stuff. Had a tree fall on my house. First time I led discussion out here keeping it sober. Got to watch it fall on my truck in my house. Something, man. All these thoughts, all these experiences. Went to Florida and lost a butt pile of money out the top of my van. $100 bills floating around in the middle of the road. And I can believe what I want to believe, but I think a mother with 3 kids picked up a couple $100, was able to buy new shoes and a backpack and a lunchbox for the kid. Money comes and goes. And anyways, so at about a year and a month or so, my friend's brother passed away, and I'm not a big pain pill guy, but I'm a carpenter. And right, I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm being accountable, but it's important. I think I like to share this story because it's that crazy that thought that comes to you occasionally. And so his brother died of lung cancer, and he had these pain pills. And the nurse was going to come and take these pain pills and put them in with this cat litter and throw them in the landfill. And that's a terrible way to use good drugs. If I'm a carpenter and my back's hurting, I might need one or two of those things one time. Right? This is good rationalization. It's like, man, because I hurt. Sometimes I hurt. And so he gave me 3 of them. And I ain't telling my sponsor, I didn't think they were an issue. I was never informed that I wasn't supposed to take something that wasn't prescribed to me, right? Well, I'm just telling you, you need to talk with your sponsor about that. So I had 3 of them, and I put them up in the cabinet. I didn't take them the first night, and I probably didn't take them for a couple of weeks. But I was sitting there on the couch one time, and it's like, hey, I wonder what those things do for you. And I took one, and I describe it like a warm blanket. It was that warm blanket. This is all right, and this ain't alcohol. This is all right. The thinking comes in so quick. I'm still coming to meetings, coming to noon meetings, and I got 2 pills left, and they kind of make me hyped. So I taking it and mixing it with diphenhydramine, and then the ladies over here at the noon meeting talking about how her cousin or friend died from this drug interaction. I'm just kind of like that Sally whistling in the dark. They talk about this Sally in the big book. Everything's good, and then this is where I'm down to 1, right? 1 pill, and I'm gonna break it in half so I can have half for tomorrow. And like, dang, half ain't gonna do anything for me. We'll go ahead and take it, so I'll get rid of all of them, And I did. And I came to a meeting, and old man Wilbur, he was a dentist out here, and Clint was out there talking about getting some dental work and not getting any pain medication, and I wasn't even in the conversation. And I told on myself. I know in high school, tattletellers, or in grade school, tattletellers aren't good, right? Tattletale on me. They tattletelling on me because I'm doing something I probably hadn't not been doing. But I wasn't even in the conversation. I said, yeah, man, I had these things the other day, and I started taking them. And Clint looked at me, he said, you did what? I said, yeah, I have, man, I took them. And he's like, damn, you threw away he said, you threw away a whole year of sobriety? And I was really dumbfounded. I said, I did what? Them fighting words, man. Lose my seniority in Alcoholics Anonymous. A year. And I ain't belittling a year. That was the hardest year of my life, man. And I didn't want to let anybody down. I didn't want to let you guys down. It's like, man, he said, you're going to have to pick up a white chip. Boy, these fighting words. Come on now. And I told my story for the first time. An old man Wilbur patted me on the back. He says, I guess we won't be hearing your story for a while. Oh, my pride took a couple shots, man. And I said, well, if that's a slip, man, I don't want to look like a wuss here in Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't want to look, at least take a drink. And I walked up these stairs up here, and in the second step, God returned me to sanity, because it's like, Ryan, do you really want to have to go back and experience what early sobriety was like? And my answer was, hell no. I don't want to have to go through that again. And so I got honest with my sponsor, and he said, yeah, I want you to pick up a white chip. And I did. Big Mike gave me a white chip on a Thursday night up here, and my recovery was really catapulted, because I could see where I'd taken the first 3 steps. And I told myself when I picked up that white chip, if I really turned my will in life over to care of God, then this is no big deal. And it wasn't. And man, Alcoholics Anonymous has afforded me such a great life. I didn't plan on having kids in my 40s. I just turned 43, and I got a 4-month-old, so I gotta stay fit and take care of my youngins. But hopefully, by the grace of God, these children will not have to grow up with an alcoholic father. I can be a pretty cool dude, and Scooby and I can go on Wednesday nights and get locked up in prison. I think Scooby was an alcoholic, man. There must have been something in that Scooby snaps, because he was willing to do anything for a Scooby snack. But that's for him to decide. So I'm gonna sit down, but I do want to say that if nobody's told you that they love you today, I love you, and I mean it. I mean it by showing you, that by showing up, and that's enough out of me. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Ryan.